Hey Clown's gonna talk about one of my new favorite trading card games. It's the Dragon Ball Z card game by Panini, recently resurrected after being gone for a whole long time. I haven't played the old game, but this new version released by this random company called Panini, I like it a lot. I like card games like this where it's not about drawing a single card every turn. Instead, you see multiple cards a turn. Like my favorite card game, UFS. I like card games like that are different than just drawing a single card every turn. So I like the mechanics of it and stuff like that, and I like the license a lot. Obviously, that's the main reason I play it. But this has some retarded ass shit in it. Some of the people who probably made this game had like legacy magic in mind when they were making some of these cards. Like Time is a Warrior's Tool has no place in this game. It is the most ridiculous value you can get in a single card, and it feels like legacy magic tier levels of brokenness. The whole game you're playing around this card, and if this card is somewhere in your opponent's deck, you got to be thinking about it. And if your opponent plays it at the right time, or if you played it at the right time, then the game's over. And it's limited one per deck, so increase the luck factor for drawing it when you need it, because you won't draw it consistently. There's only one. Or if you can just loop it, then you probably are going to win the game. If you have the means to loop it and your opponent didn't have the means to keep you from looping this one card because they didn't buy the $200 set of ultra rares from set 1, thanks. They made the stare down. Any card that is an immediate 3 of, no question, isn't good game design. So stare down, it's way too free. Just a free silver bullet, choose any card in your opponent's hand, no drawback, no cost. As opposed to confrontation, which does essentially heal your opponent for 1, and also the problem card you are making them get rid of, it goes back in their deck, so you'll probably see it again. Much more balanced that way. Krillin's Destructo Disc. Why would you make a card that has almost zero interaction? Like this time stare down, this card, 0 interaction, you just play it and your opponent gets wrecked unless they proactively have an obstacle for it. Like 5 damage for free no matter what if you're playing black or orange. And so between set 1 through 3, so like the first year of this game's lifespan, there was no way to stop this card, and this card just made Krillin be the top tier deck because it's so good in 0 interaction. There's really nothing that stops it except several cards that aren't played all that much. And to me, it's also bad design because it pigeonholes Krillin into being black or orange. Only gets a lot of value if it crits, usually, because you're probably fighting someone with Dragon Balls or Ginyu. So pigeonholes Krillin into being orange or black so you can consistently crit with that card. Next, we got Ginyu. Ginyu he would be probably the most busted ass MP. He is the card advantage king. If not for Krillin and Piccolo being able to crit allies, that makes like the trinity for the first 3 sets. The trinity of Ginyu, Krillin, and Piccolo. Ginyu is probably the best in a vacuum, but since Piccolo and Krillin can use crits for free, then it balances it all out. So basically, they're the big 3. Compare Ginyu to, say, Gohan. He gets several really high power cards for free, essentially, even on turn 1, as opposed to, say, Gohan, who can hurt himself to potentially do nothing. Gohan's probably the worst piece of shit ever. You could basically tell who was casual as fuck in the early days of this game because who was playing Gohan. And then you got cards like Wallbreaker that shut down certain decks completely. And this is probably the least play-tested card out of all of them. Like if you're playing Blue Frieza back before set 3 when you could, Sagacious Strike, then you were fucked. There is no way for if you're playing Blue Frieza, you're not going to crit them if they're playing any kind of semblance of defense. Like if you're playing another blue deck that has a shitload of endurance, you're never going to crit them. You're going to be on your Frieza level 1 the whole game, and it'll be like your MP is blank the whole game. That's fun. Then you got the weird mistakes, like Black Scout Maneuver tells you to name a card, and then your opponent searches their whole deck for all copies of that card and gets rid of them. But obviously, the searching rules, your opponent can just choose to not find any, or rather, because of the finding rules in this game, they can choose to find only one. They can just choose to find only one and leave the rest in their deck, because you only get to verify their search if they don't find any. So this got eroded, obviously, to say you search your opponent's deck. And you got the lazy ass quality control, no reason. There is no reason for cards that are reprinted to have completely different text unintentionally than the previous prints. And it's not like old cards from the old Score Z. It's cards like Reinforced Block that get reprinted less than a year later, and they have the wrong text. What the fuck? This is set 4. They should have had time to get their shit together and not be mediocre. But whoever is in charge of quality control, probably no one at this company, sucks dick. And then other random ass problems in set 4, like forgetting to put the card type on Revolver Ocelot's Hail Hitler attack. Did they not even play test? Would you not notice that if you were play testing for like a week? And another gripe I have with this game, in set 2, they included like the whole Garlic Jr. filler arc, but they didn't bother to put in any of the good filler like Princess Snake or the Hell Guys. Why would you leave those out? Those are like the best filler. Really lazy, shoddy job here, Panini. But on the plus side, the game is pretty fun. The mechanics are fun. With the release of set 4, I think I can feel like I can keep playing this game. I think it's a step in the right direction. I like all the MPs. I think the power level of them is a little bit more consistent than the first 3 sets. So I think when set 1 rotates, it might resemble a pretty balanced competitive game that I would like to endorse. And I do like the new MPs. I like Revolver Ocelot. I like the Big Boy. Big Boy's my favorite DBZ character. I think I'm just going to play Big Boy and suck all the kids dry.